Well, you've been patient. I've mentioned this for over a year now, but it's time to dive in on the GATOR. You know, I picked this GATOR up right about after I moved out to Tennessee. I needed something to get around all this property, and I needed something cheap because I really wasn't in the market for these $20,000 quads and all this ridiculous stuff. So I found this guy. Now, he's got a lot of age on him, but he's got a good soul. You know, he was probably really somebody's pride and joy when they got him a long time ago. But this is a really old GATOR. 6x4, chain-driven rear end, pretty sweet. Now it's just been a home for the spiders while I've been sick and recovering and stuff, but I'm feeling good enough to start working on it, and that's awesome. Boy, I look at that metal chair and I think, at some point this was a beautiful padded seat straight out of the John Deere factory. Somebody was probably really proud of this and spent a lot of time sitting there. I look at the solar panel I put on it just to keep the battery from dying since I'm not using it a lot, and for other reasons, which I will soon disclose. And I think, man, this thing's a wreck. In fact, it's Frankengator. It really is. It is so sewn together out of so many ridiculous parts, and it has so many band-aids on band-aids on band-aids. It is the Frankenstein of John Deere GATORs. Absolutely. Or at least Frankenstein's monster. Well, I think it's finally time to get it up in the garage, or close to. It's been sitting here a long time. I used to use this to haul firewood around. Well, I mean, I used it. It starts up, it runs. I mean, it hasn't in a while, but I'm pretty sure I can get it going. I guess. Even though it's been sitting out here for a while. I'm usually pretty lucky with this stuff. And I love tinkering. Now, before I get too far on this, there's a lot going on here, and I mean a lot. First, I better clean out this bed so I can tip it up. You know, these John Deere GATOR 6x4s came with a hydraulic piston and a little hydraulic pump, and it would lift and dump the bed for you with a switch on a dashboard. And that'd be pretty cool. But I'm the hydraulics now, and this bed weighs a stinking ton. It is so heavy. But the good news is, well, there is no good news. It's very heavy. It's practically a guillotine, and you have to prop something under it and make sure it's propped somewhere that keeps that lid up stiff, because boy, if it came down on you, it could probably kill you. So we'll try not to do that. Now, if you'll look in here, you'll notice that is not a John Deere fuel-injected, liquid-cooled motor. That is a Predator 670 air-cooled, carbureted Harbor Freight motor. You see, the guy I bought this from decided to do a conversion on this. He had a custom, whatever that is, clutch back there that flies out and pinches the V-belt. Built for it, custom. And put this V-twin motor in there. And I gotta tell you, it's got guts. It has no problem pushing this heavy sled around. It was kind of something that made you laugh every time you drove it when it was running. But there's a lot going on here. So we'll get to the issue with that clutch. But one of the problems is the spring in it is way too light. Now here's kind of the wiring harness mess. It's a combination of the the John Deere wiring harness, the Predator wiring harness, an old ignition, and an extra ignition that was wired in. And here's a place I spliced in the accessories power line into this fuel pump. There's the old fuel tank sitting under the driver's seat. Original John Deere. And you see, this carburetor's way up here, so it needs a pump to bring it up. But I figure I don't like that John Deere pump because the PSI is so high, it can push so hard that it can overpower the float in the carburetor, and it just starts leaking gas everywhere. So that thing is way too powerful, and I need to get rid of it. Also, this Predator engine theoretically has a little vacuum-powered gas pump in it anyway. It's right where the hose goes into it. Anyway, like I said, the battery can't charge because it can't idle high enough, and that's another story. But for now, solar panel, little charge controller, Heck, I've got a place to charge a USB speaker or something, camera batteries, I don't know. Today, I think I'm going to start with a place to put a new gas tank. I think I'll put it right over this old radiator. After all, it's not getting used, and I'm not going to take it out, and I don't care to try to sell it. I'm just going to bury it under there forever. So, I think what I'm going to do is take some measurements, throw down some wood, and kind of just get an idea what I want here. You know, I just want something that'll put the gas tank somewhere that's easily accessible, and I may abandon this gas tank at some point, but I have a little cheap one to use in the meantime. I'd like to use the original John Deere gas tank, and I think I will eventually order a, low PSI fuel pump to just bring the fuel up to that carburetor, and I might even bypass everything on that carburetor and just go straight in without all the little other junk that's on the top. So I don't know yet, but what I do know is for now I need to get a gas tank on it that I know is reliable and is above it, just in case the gas pump is weak. At least I can get a little gravity feed to that carburetor. So I've got a whole bunch of scrap plywood, and I figure I'll build like a little water tower for this gas tank. Shouldn't be necessary, but why not? I'm going to put it up high. I'm going to put it where it's easy to access, easy to fill. And since I'm putting this up there anyway, I might as well build like a little, cabinet thing in that passenger seat. After all, I'll have my phone with me, or I'll have a pair of gloves, or, just a pocket full of stuff, maybe a wallet. Or maybe I'm working on something and have a socket set out. Or, maybe I just need a place to put my chainsaw sharpening tools or something like that. Anything like that. So what I think I'm going to try to build here is a little gasoline water tower thing with a little tray underneath it. And then the front portion will be like a tiny little workbench that'll be in the passenger seat, because there is no passenger seat of this thing. And I kind of like the way that sounds. Good place to set the Bluetooth speaker. I think that's a good idea. At least to make use of the space in that way. Now, I thought about making one the full size of that passenger seat, but I don't really want to obstruct the whole thing. And then if I need to do some maintenance in the future, I got to take this whole stinking thing out to get underneath it or around it. So I'm going to just make it small, about the size of a chair. In fact, it's kind of starting to look like a chair. Not that I was planning for that at all. Didn't even think about that. But, well, we'll just see what it shapes up to be. There's no real plan here. I'm building as I go, out of scraps. And, we'll just see what it turns into. Definitely clip those corners. There's no sense in getting like a thigh or a shin full of that if you're working back and forth in there. And I think I'm going to put this little catch there just so you can put some stuff in that tray and it won't slide out, and it kind of separates the workbench from things sliding back into it. I'll put a little weight on there and get some of that glue pressed down. And I think I'm going to paint it with this farm and implement paint that's left over from when I painted that minivan last year, because I've got it. And it should be as weather tough as anything I can get. I should probably paint the whole stinking Gator in this stuff. Now, it sat in the garage through the winter, but I know that I've had other Rust-Oleum products that haven't minded a few freezes, so we'll see if this is all gummy and disgusting, or if it's still looking good. I had it in a cabinet, in a box, and in a closed garage, and the garage is pretty insulated, sort of. So let's see if it survived. I don't know. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But that thing's looking pretty great. I think that'll be fine. And I made a little tie down for the gas tank as well, just to hold it in place. I'm going to drill just a couple holes in there in case any rain gets underneath that tank or anything stupid like that happens. It can leak through and fill up that bottom tray. I don't know. I kind of abandoned this after I drilled the first holes because I really don't care. It's going to be fine. Hey, if you enjoy this kind of content, let me know. We've been waiting on this Gator project, and there's going to be a couple of episodes for sure. So if you'd like, go ahead and like it, comment on it, and subscribe. I'll be happy to talk with you in the comment section. I answer every comment, and I know there's a lot of great conversations to be had about this John Deere Gator. Well, this paint looks perfect. And I'm glad to see that. Because I'm trying to build this out of what I got. And this is what I got. So, I'm going to go on and paint this thing up as thick as I can. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love this Rust-Oleum farm and implement paint. It paints everything. It's enamel based, I'm pretty sure, and if it's not, it sure acts like it. I've had hardened acrylic products that are meant for driveways and outdoor spaces, and I believe that this cure is about as hard, if not harder than that, because I think it's got epoxy in it. I'm almost positive. Regardless, what it is tough, and it's going to be tougher than whatever's flaking off of the GATOR out there. So I'm going to paint this guy up pretty nice and thick and make sure that it's going to at least be able to deal with the moisture outside without just completely crumbling, because the plywood's going to just get saturated by the humidity. So this ought to be fine. And I'm going to just let it sit and dry for a little while. Actually, it's going to dry overnight. I figure I'd give it, 12, 14 hours to really chill out. And I'll leave the fan on it with a timer and just give it a chance to start doing that initial dry. And here it is the next day. Looking pretty good. Let's see what it looks like in the GATOR. Not bad. I'll have to figure out the positioning and where it's going to land best. In fact, I need to figure out how to mount this thing. It's not really going to be carrying any actual weight other than this tiny little gallon gas tank. I think I can probably just use some self-tappers and put some little wooden slats underneath it and then just drive some screws down through the top. Yeah, that really classes her up. Just look at it. Almost makes you forget that that seat over there will absolutely violate you with the bolts sticking up through it and the brackets rubbing around on your keister. Found these in the scrap pile. Perfect, perfect. Nice little 3/8 inch slats and some inch-long self-tapping stainless steel tech screws into whatever legitimate metal I can find. Beautiful. Slide that around. See if I can figure out where those brackets are. Oh yeah, she's a beauty. And I'm going to start fishing this fuel line through in this tank just so I can put the tie-down bracket on top. And then I can clean up that thing I was painting on. So really just want to get past this phase. Although I think that paint's coming out again. I'm almost sure. In fact, it's a guarantee. I'm going to get out that John Deere paint and kind of spruce this guy up a little bit at a time. Why not, right? That's what this whole channel was founded on. Rust-Oleum painting old things. And look how quick that workbench came in handy. Because I'm going to start working on the engine bay. And that is episode 2. If you like this episode, like I said, please like, please comment, and subscribe. Join us in the comments. We have so much fun in the comments, and we all learn so much together. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in episode 2, where we really start tearing into getting this motor running. Thanks for watching. God bless.